live from the very rainy parking lot of the dentist's office and the beautiful church here next door. It's 10 o'clock and I can hear the bells ringing from here, but I'm sure you can't. Maybe you can hear that. Can you hear it's going to ring bong 10 times? I'm so easily amused. I hope you're hearing this, otherwise it's really boring. Okay. As you can see, I'm in a wet poncho. And let's see here, I gotta fix my little stand here. There we are. Happy Thursday, everyone. It seldom rains up here, or at least this year. It's been relatively dry. And so the area needs the rain, so I'm not complaining too bad. But it's the day that not only does Constance have a dental appointment, but I've got to take Carla into the body shop to have them fix where I was sideswiped here in the parking lot of Sprouts. Now I know that doesn't sound like very much, but to get out and about in Sacramento, especially in the rain, and it's a big thing. It's going to ruin my day, or it's going to dominate my day. It won't ruin my day because I'm with you. I'm going to read two things to you today, or share two things with you. And one of them is kind of a rare-ish writing by Aleister Crowley. And I'm just going to share part of it with. The reason that it's so rare is because he didn't write it as Aleister Crowley. He wrote it under the nom de plume of Gerard Armand. But I'll get to that in just a moment. And it, in a way, it's sort of related to the first thing I'm going to do, which is the very recent announcement made by my boss in the O.T.O, Frater Sabazius, the 10th degree, and the Grand Master of the U.S., and I'm his deputy. I'm Deputy Lon. Okay, I'm like Chester in Gunsmoke. Marshal Dillon, Doc's gonna kill a man. While I'm thinking of it, Dennis Weaver played Chester, the deputy to Marshal Dillon in the probably the longest running Western on television, Gunsmoke. Now Chester, the character Chester, had a wooden leg, and he was brilliantly played by Dennis Weaver. Okay. Why am I telling you all of this? Is because early in our marriage, so we're talking 58 years ago, Constance and I, let's say in the first 5 years of our marriage, attended the Self-Realization Fellowship services at mostly in Fullerton, but for a real treat, we would drive down to Santa Monica to the Lake Shrine, the SRF Lake Shrine, the Yogananda. It was beautiful Indian thing, and a little lake right beneath where the Getty Museum is, and on the other side of the freeway is the Pacific Ocean. It's drop dead gorgeous, and there's sort of a Indian shrine and lakes and turtles. That's where we baptized Jean Paul. But they would have Sunday services, and because it was the LA area, there were celebrities sometimes that would kind of deliver the sermon on Sundays. And one of them was Dennis Weaver. And I believe we went twice where Dennis Weaver, if you want to look at it this way, preached at the Self-Realization Fellowship Lake Shrine. And it was spiritually delicious, I guess would be the best way to put it. And at the time, I think he was starring in the series McCloud, if I'm not mistaken. So it was in those years, probably around 1972, 73, okay. And I can still remember him with that Chester voice, you know, "Come quick, Marshall Dillon, Doc's gonna kill a man." And I remember him saying, "You got to have a guru." You know, you can study, you can practice, you can do things, but you got to have a guru. And it was so sweet. But I digress. The announcement I want to make is from my boss, Sabazius, 10th degree O.T.O., the U.S. Grandmaster. Okay, I'm Deputy U.S. Grandmaster. Now, I became an O.T.O. member before there actually was an organization, formal organization to join. I was initiated by Grady McMurtry and his wife Phyllis McMurtry on November 15th, 1975. And I believe this is before anything was incorporated. There wasn't a headquarters, there was their home. And other members, old O.T.O. members, I believe Mildred Burlingame in Southern California was still alive, and Helen Parsons Smith. And Helen Parsons Smith was at my first degree initiation. She was one of the officers. But the initiation took place in the garage, Phyllis's and Grady's home in Dublin, California. And it was a garage, but it was beautifully appointed. It was modest, but it didn't look like a garage. It looked like Saladin's camp. It was just gorgeous, okay? But understated, because it was a magic membrane that you were walking into, and not a temple that you would think that you could be distracted by all the ornate stuff. Okay, it was a temple, all right. And Grady, shortly thereafter, Phyllis and Grady separated and went to, he went to Berkeley to then kind of legally formulate the the O.T.O in the United States, and get things going formally. Okay, and then Phyllis continued to initiate in Dublin for a while, and then eventually she took her lodge under the auspices of a newly formed Grand Lodge, and Grady, even though he lived in Berkeley and it was the headquarters of the organization, the Grand Lodge, still everything was done in people's houses. Okay, and for all of the years that Haru Raha, our lodge in Southern California, operated, we operated out of our home. Now, as the years went by, it became wise for the organization to for liability and legal things and insurance and things like that, to discourage full-blown lodge activities, the initiations, Gnostic masses, meetings, things like that, in people's homes. So eventually the O.T.O encouraged people to have separate facilities, like a storefront or something like that. Still, it has to be very modest, because there's not a lot of money. Not a lot of money involved in any of this. We never even charged lodge dues. We just sent their initiation, their yearly dues straight on to Grand Lodge, and so we didn't even charge local lodge dues to our members, which is very unusual, but that's how we are. And it's been like that. It's continued like that, and the order has grown, and the order has grown dramatically for a small esoteric group, and it's spread worldwide, and there's Grand Lodges in quite a few countries now. There's Grand Lodge in England and Yugoslavia, and they're all over the place. Okay, it's as Crowley always envisioned, it's an international organization. But still, in the United States, we really hadn't had the opportunity to have a centralized Grand Lodge facility. And so we're talking 50 years on from the establishment of the American Grand Lodge, that we've been just lucky to have the generosity of the volunteers all over the country to spread with lodges in cities all over the country. But just the other day, I got an email from Sabazius saying he was about ready to make an important announcement, and he told me, I'm not going to read his email, but it was very exciting. Constance and I were very excited, and just, I think, day before yesterday, he posted this publicly on his website, The Invisible Basilica of Sabazius. And I'm excited now to share it with you. He calls it One Step Forward. This is by Sabazius. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. I'm excited to announce that U.S. Grand Lodge has completed the purchase of a building. Now that's exciting enough in itself. I digress. But it goes on. This building is a 5,300 square foot, 3-story structure located on a 2-acre parcel in New England, with a separate 2,000 square foot garage utility building on site. We made the purchase using the funds from the late brother A.T.'s generous bequest. So Brother A.T. gave us a generous bequest on his death. So this is not coming from dues, it's not coming from... The first floor of the main building includes a 750 square foot temple space, reception area, dining room, and restroom. It is well configured for hosting O.T.O. events. It will be used by the Mithras Oasis, O.T.O., for their initiations in Gnostic Masses, and will also be used by U.S. Grand Lodge for Northeast regional events and small national events. Probably less than 50 people at a time. Excuse me. Which is big for this small organization. The upper floors include 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, a utility room, will likely be used as a library or a small temple, a laundry room, and 3 bathrooms. They will be developed for use in retreats and will ultimately constitute the residential portion of a formal prophet's house. Now, if you're at all familiar with Crowley's writings and his vision for the O.T.O. as a viable organization, viable fraternity, he envisioned prophets' houses, what he called prophets' houses, which is sort of a Templar tradition that now, ipso facto, every home of every member of the Sovereign Sanctuary of the Gnosis is, at least in Crowley's mind, ipso facto a prophet's house. And it's where members can go and stay a while, like a supervised Airbnb, only it has a full library and facilities for them to study, to meditate, to take magical retreats and things like that. That's what he's talking about here. They will be developed for use in retreats and will ultimately constitute the residential portion of a formal prophet's house. Now I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures of this. It's awesome. There is some repair work and furnishings that need to be completed before we put the building into use. We anticipate official commencement of activities there in excuse me. Oh, I'm coughing in the rain. I don't like this. In February of 2026. So just February of next year, just a few months from now. We will likely be publishing a wish list of furnishings, artwork, etc. over the coming weeks. For purposes of security and privacy, since members will be staying there, we will not publish the address or exact location of this facility, but it will, of course, be provided to local members and others with a need to know. We would like to create an endowment fund for funding the ongoing maintenance and improving expenses for this facility, as well as for other future facilities. If you'd like to contribute to this endowment, please get in touch with the Grand Treasurer General. I beg your pardon. Many thanks to members of the New England Development Committee for their hours of hard work on this project. We've gained a lot of experience that will be very valuable for similar projects in other regions. Love is the law, love under will, Sabazi. Now that is indeed exciting news, at least for those of us who are in Grand Lodge of the O.T.O, U.S. Now, I was going to read something to you that Crowley wrote as the character Gerald Almond. But to tell you the truth, this tickle in my throat is going to prevent that this morning. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hope I get better. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.